Hello there, and welcome to our virtual open house. I am Mrs. LeBrun. I am your son or daughter's geometry teacher this year. My email here is on the screen. This is the best way to get a hold of me throughout the year. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, reach me on the email. And I'm usually pretty good about getting back within that day, but sometimes it's the next morning. And yeah, so this is a picture of our classroom. The one on the left here is where the students would be seated, obviously, at their desk. Each desk has a partition. These partitions stay up for the entire class, even during our lunch period. The desks are wiped clean between each hour. On the right picture, I have a set of classroom calculators. Students are free to use these calculators if they would like. These also get wiped down between each class. Students also have a TI-84 calculator actually put onto their Chromebook, so they have one accessible to them at home, or if they would prefer to use the one on their Chromebook instead of using the ones that others are using in class, that can also be done. It's probably a safer route if they would use the one on their Chromebook compared to the one that's being used in class by everybody else, but those do get wiped down between every hour. All right, so here are a few classroom procedures and rules. For the most part, these are kind of school-wide rules that everyone in the building follows. But some of them may just be my own. But the first one is probably the most important. Chromebooks need to be with the student each day in class fully charged. Especially this year, we have moved to do everything online. I will not be passing out any papers or handouts. So having the Chromebook easily accessible and fully charged each day in class would be very helpful. No food or drink in the class. Water is allowed. Students must be in their seat when the bell rings, or they will be marked tardy. This is an easy one to follow this year with, less gatherings in the halls anyway. So the kids pretty much go from class to class, so they're here on time. Students stay in their seat until the bell rings. For the same reason, we are not wandering around the room. Once we're in our assigned seat, we stay there for the duration of the class. We put our calculators away if we did borrow them, and then we are right in our seat the whole time until the bell does ring. There are no cell phone uses in my class, so I do ask the students to keep those put away. We don't use it for any sort of math instruction of any kind, so I do ask that the kids don't have cell phones in my room. And then the partitions must be on the desk, and then mask also must be on face, above nose, which is a rule that is followed also by the entire school. In geometry, these are a few of the topics we'll be covering. It's pretty much the first 5 chapters in our geometry book. Basic definitions and terms, that's what we're currently doing right now. Angle relationships, which is what we're going to be starting later this week. Reasoning, parallel and perpendicular lines and all the relationships that happen with those, and then congruent triangles. And that will pretty much take us through January at the semester break, and then we'll kind of continue with the other material when we get into second semester. Grades for the class are calculated as you can see here. I break up our grades into 2 categories, homework and quiz test. So all the assessments are in a category together. Homework makes up 30% of their overall grade. Each assignment that is assigned to students is worth 5 points. And I grade them, being everything is submitted online, it's kind of graded for them as they submit. So out of the 5 points, you get a perfect 5 out of 5. If you have an 80% to 100% on that homework assignment, you get a 4 out of 5 if it's a 60% to a 79%. You get a 3 out of 5 if it's a 40% to a 59%, and then so on there following down. If you submit or try any of it, you do get a point. It's just a 0 if it's completely not done, or obviously if there's like cheating or some other issue that comes along with it. And then late assignments are accepted, and this is just late work. This is not absent work. If they're absent, they can make up their work with no penalty. But if it is a late assignment and it was not done and they were actually in class, they can turn it in up until the end of that chapter and they can receive half credit for what they earn. So if they do an assignment, after the fact and they get a 72% on that assignment, it would be a 4 out of 5, but because it was late, it'd go on the computer as a 2 out of 5. So they'll get half credit for what they actually earn on it. And then late assignments also need to be communicated to me. So students have to send me an email that they turn something in because I don't get notified if something happens after I've already collected the submissions. And then the quiz and test make up for 70% of their overall grade. Typically in each chapter, we will have 1 to 2 quizzes. 1 is more common than 2 in geometry, but there are a couple chapters that get a little bit long. I'll throw a second quiz in to kind of check in with students. And then the test format, and I tell the students this all the time, the test format that they get will be very similar to what their quizzes look like. Same types of questions, same style of questioning. So I do highly recommend the kids use their quizzes to study from for the test. And then lastly, online tools. These are the 3 main sites that I will use in geometry. Schoology is probably something you've heard from most teachers. That's our online site that we're using as a school. In Schoology, it's set up for students to find their warm-ups each day they come into class. There's a PDF file copy of the notes each time we take notes in class. There are also some videos of me actually teaching the lesson. Those happen when I have subs, so I give those to everybody, even if it's not on a day that actual class got the sub, but I'll post those videos for all geometry classes so they have that access. Their grades can now be found in Schoology, and then all of our assessments are being done in Schoology. So that's like everything happening in there. The other site that's really important is Big Ideas. Big Ideas is actually our online textbook. So that's where the students can find that. Their daily homework assignments, most of the time they have homework, it'll be on this site as well. And then Delta Math is the other site that I use assignments. It's a nice online tool for students to do and submit online without having to do paper and pencil. So that's where their assignments are typically found, on Big Ideas or in Delta Math. Thank you for joining for this virtual tour. I look forward to spending this year with your students. Again, if you have any questions or concerns throughout the year, please feel free to email me, and I will get back with you as soon as I can. Have a great evening.